98.6, a smart community.
October 1999.
An independent leader was born to lead all frequencies.
Radio Riverside, 98.2 FM.
25 minute oor 8 en ons is weer terug. We are back. You tuned into Radio Riverside 98.2 and 98.6 FM with me, Mbalenhle Masiza, and Madam E in our 18 Edward Studios in Gagamas, Litzburg. And as we had mentioned earlier on, today we are talking Functional Neurological Disorder Awareness Month. And on the line we have Thandeka Bhengu, and she's going to tell us a little bit more around this. Once again, good morning, Thandeka. Thank you so much for making time for us this morning.
Good morning. Thank you for having me. Thank you.
All right. So to get started, can you tell us a little bit more about functional neurological disorder and why April is significant for raising awareness about this condition?
Okay. So FND, which is functional neurological disorder, is a condition where the brain has trouble sending and receiving signals properly. So this causes symptoms like seizures, weakness, and movement issues. So April is FND Awareness Month because it's a time to educate, to reduce stigma, and to also support those who are affected.
All right, so how does FND then affect individuals, and what are some common misconceptions about the condition?
Okay, so some people think it's all up in someone's head, that it doesn't exist.
Mm-hmm.
But it actually is a real thing. It's just that because we cannot see it, because it's not a physical disability that we can see it, people feel like it's all up in someone's head. So because it doesn't affect maybe your speech or maybe your movement, so people feel like, nope, it's not real. But it's actually a life-altering condition that needs proper care and understanding.
All right. Now, one of the talking points this morning is how this relates to your workplace stress and mental health. So how can high-stress work environments contribute to triggering or worsening FND symptoms?
Okay, so high-stress environments can trigger and they can also worsen FND symptoms.
Yeah.
So stress overload disrupts the nervous system. So when you're overstressed, your nervous system is then disrupted, which is already vulnerable in people with FND. So it just worsens everything, just messes up everything in your nervous system.
Okay, now to take that a little bit further, what role do you think or is established that burnout and trauma play in the development or exacerbation of FND symptoms?
Okay, so as I mentioned, stress overloads and disrupts the nervous system. So when they overload the body's stress response, which affects the brain's function and worsens symptoms. So burnout and post-trauma can be key triggers to FND.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so we usually, or especially more now than in the past, we see that mental health plays a very big role in every aspect of our lives, and we are affected, be it at home, be it in the workplace, or whatever environment that we're in. But now, with a specific reference to the workplace, why is it then crucial for companies to take mental health seriously, and what are the potential consequences of neglecting mental health in the workplace?
Okay, so neglecting mental health leads to absenteeism. So you'll find that a person is coming to work here and there. They've got excuses. So there's poor performance, and there's a high turnover. So it's bad for people, and it's bad for business.
Yeah.
So if it affects a person, it's definitely going to affect the business.
Yeah.
So one of the benefits of prioritizing mental health would be that it boosts morale of your staff, increase productivity, and build trust. I trust you that you'll get this done, and I don't need to follow after you. So when you build that trust with your employees, it makes it easier for them. It's less stress, and healthy employees create healthy workplaces.
Yeah. Now, with that considered, we understand that the idea of accommodating mental health challenges in a workplace is also fairly new to majority of work environments. So what steps can businesses take to create a more supportive and inclusive work environment for employees with FND and other neurological conditions?
Okay. So they can offer flexible work options, more of work at home, work from home maybe 3 days or 2 days. So have access to mental health resources. They also need to be educated about it. And inclusive policies that support employees with neurological conditions like FND. Yeah. So at the end of the day, what we also do as Step Ahead Staffing, we have a team of people that educate employers on how to deal with such, so that businesses actually flourish with people that have FND in the company, within the company.
All right. Now, Step Ahead Staffing's mission and their approach. Can you tell us a little bit more about Step Ahead Staffing's mission and their values, particularly in relation to promoting inclusive hiring practices?
Okay. So we promote inclusive hiring. So by matching people with all abilities, including those with FND, to meaningful job opportunities. So that's when we come in and we educate the employer, and then we match the people with all the abilities, including those with FND, those that are using wheelchairs. So it really doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So our job is just to educate so that we reduce the stigma.
Okay. Now, if we're looking at the scope or the areas that you cover, because I think for some of our listeners, hearing about Step Ahead Staffing's mission or the company itself, it might be something new to the ear. So where are you situated, and which areas do you particularly cover?
Okay, so we are situated, we have offices in Durban, in Cape Town, and here in Johannesburg. So I'm currently in Johannesburg right now. Yeah. And then we recruit for everyone all around South Africa. And we also have a footprint in Kenya, in Mozambique, and Zimbabwe, and in Swaziland.
All right. Now, for those individuals, how does it work? Is it someone who perhaps needs assistance to be, matched to a working environment, or do you identify a person? How does it work?
Okay, so it works both ways.
Okay.
So we identify, and they can also come to us. So we've got pages on social media. We've got LinkedIn. We're available on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. So we actually have a digital footprint. Also have a website. So we are out there.
Okay. Now, to bring it a little bit back to practical ways of supporting employees with FND, what are some practical ways businesses can support employees with FND, such as flexible work arrangements, perhaps, or mental health resources?
So like I mentioned, flexible hours, quiet spaces. They can also have mental health days. Access to support services that can make a big difference.
Okay. Now, just in closing, or just before we go, are there any specific resources or tools that you recommend for employers who want to better support their employees with FND?
Yes, definitely. So there's organizations like FND Hope that offer great resources. So also workplace wellness programs and disability inclusion training are powerful tools.
Okay. Now, how can a listener then also get involved in promoting awareness and support for individuals with FND? Okay.
So, as I mentioned, FND is real. So, we need to also be real. So, they can also just speak to their employers. This is a condition that I have. I think they shouldn't be shy to speak about it. Just let them know that I'm speaking to you in confidentiality. If they do have a medical report, they can also present the medical report to their employers. So, yeah, they need to speak about it so that it's easy for them to be included, to be part of the inclusion.
Okay, so just in closing then, what are some next steps that businesses and individuals can take to prioritize mental health and well-being? And also, what message would you like to convey to listeners about FND and mental health in the workplace?
Okay, so they can, as I mentioned earlier, that they can participate in wellness programs. So programs that will educate them. They can also participate in, disability inclusion training that we also offer that with our partners. And then just in conclusion that FND is real, people are affected, and they deserve support. So mental health should be a workplace priority and not an afterthought.
Thandeka Bhengu on the line as we close off our conversation this morning on FND awareness. Thank you so much for your time, and I hope our listeners got to learn and understand a little bit more about this particular disorder, and even in those cases where they might have it, how they can be assisted and how an employer can also assist those affected by mental health in the workplace. Thank you so much, Thandeka.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you.
All right. It is 24 minutes to 9. You're tuned into Radio Riverside 98.2 and 98.6 FM. You're tuned into your favorite frequency with the top two, Mbalenhle Masiza and Madam E. Now, before we go, before we close off our program this morning, we have one last conversation that we're going to be having, and this one is with Coca-Cola. Do stay tuned for that. As we head towards the end, you are also still more than welcome to come through and tell us what is your favorite song, or what is the song, the throwback song that you'd love to hear us play for you this morning.